Why not?
Awesome.
Going live on the YouTubes for an actual pre-stream, which we haven't managed to do in quite some time because everything had been going crazy.
Yep.
Crazy is as crazy does.
Maybe the AI is just being nice to us.
It might be. I was asking
It's like,
nice questions.
You guys have had a bit of an issue. I'll be nice to you today.
I asked it a question today just out of curiosity. I wanted to find out, I asked the AI, what is the longest running WordPress plugin podcast? And this is the response. As of my knowledge cutoff date of September 2021, the longest running WordPress plugin podcast is WP Plugins A to Z. This podcast has been running since 2009 and focuses on reviewing WordPress plugins. The hosts provide their insights and opinions on each plugin, as well as tips for using them effectively. They also interview plugin developers, industry experts, and provide listeners with valuable information on the latest WordPress plugins and trends. As of March 2023, the podcast is still running and regularly releasing new episodes.
Nice.
How about that? It actually got it right.
We exist.
So I was just bored, and I was like, man, what's it say if I put this in? That was when I was doing a couple of note things, and it's like, yeah, all right.
That's pretty cool.
At least the AI knows we're there.
Aw, we've been noticed.
Yeah. So that one's kind of interesting and different.
I have a picture of a snail with a steampunk house on its back, on the back of my computer.
Cool.
And every time I look at this hand-drawn picture, I notice something else.
Cool.
It's one of those cool pictures that you just can't stop looking at because there's always something new to see. It's a really big snail, too.
I'm seriously bored artist.
It's not boredom. That's just cool. I like things like that. And there's even like a little park on the top of the snail shell.
Yeah.
What a world it would be if we traveled by snail.
Yeah, for all you know, we might be traveling on the back of a snail.
Nah.
Nobody knows what our world's completely made of.
Maybe on the back of a turtle, but back of a snail? Nah.
You never know. Could be.
Snails are a lot more bumpy. Turtles, you can actually put a cup down on their back and they'll walk and they'll just wiggle a little bit. They're surprisingly graceful. Well, I guess snails might be graceful too. I've never actually paid too close attention.
They sort of slither along, doing a whole lot of nothing.
Except for eating all your plants.
True. But you can pluck them off and feed them to chickens. Chickens love snails.
They really do. I tossed them their little goodie basket yesterday, and wow, they go nuts for the eggshells. They completely ignored all the other little goodies that were in there and dove for the eggshells and were even fought over one piece.
Yep.
It's like, whoa, girls, chill out.
They will. They'll fight over, if there's larger chunks in there, one of them will grab it and the other ones will chase it for it.
I guess it must taste yummy.
It's them. I find them pretty crunchy and bland, but they like eggshells. It's good for them too. Gets them the calcium they need to help build more eggs.
Apparently, you can take eggshells and powderize them and just add it to your own food for extra calcium.
Yes, you can. You want to wash them and clean them and bake them. But yeah, that's a good way to add calcium back to your own diet, is the eggshells.
Luckily, we have milk at the moment.
And of course, the best eggshells are the ones you come from your own chickens because they're really thick.
Yeah. Kind of hard to crack the silly things open. There's been a couple times where I've gone to crack an egg, and I'm pretty sure that I hit it hard enough. And like little flecks of shell are coming off, but then the membrane in there is still working on getting through it.
Yeah.
It's not just the shell, it's the membrane too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good deal. Lots of good things from fresh chicken eggs. Including if your chickens get lots of sunshine, the amount of vitamin D in the chicken eggs goes up.
What if you get them like a vitamin D light for the winter? I think that would help them.
maybe, but I wouldn't stick anything in their pen that, they might knock over because chickens are crazy.
They are crazy. But no, I was thinking like a little vitamin D light that shines down on them just outside their coop. They really go nuts in that coop. Like when all of them are in there, they remind me of hyperactive teenagers jumping on the bed.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're digging the bed and they're burying themselves in the sawdust.
Yeah, but I've actually seen them where they're flying up to the roof and like going all around the top, and then they're coming down and jump. I don't know if they're actually jumping, but it looks like they're jumping around.
Pretty much.
They go crazy in the coop, and then they're outside of the coop, and every once in a while they just all scatter.
Well, they're skissy.
I haven't quite figured out what is it makes them jump randomly, because it's never seems to be like a noise.
Oh, they're scritching around, and if you notice, one of them will scritch some dirt and it'll land on another chicken.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then that chicken will get startled, because one gets startled, they all get startled. I actually saw it happen one day, and I went, oh, that explains why you guys freak out from time to time, because you're just sort of scritching around. One of them skips up some dirt, it hits another chicken, and the other chicken freaks out. And then one freaks out, they all freak out. So.
Oh, that definitely explains it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if chickens would freak out if they saw a ghost.
Depends on whether
Not ghost by cat. I'm talking about ghosts, like phantoms.
Yeah, well, maybe. All right, it's music time. Let's carry this to showtime.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
There it be. I guess it's time to get going.
Sure is.
Off we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 594, and we have plugins for AI Teacher, Accessing HT, Hiding Ghosts, Font Typo, Logging In and Out, Element Widgets, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there in the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we've got a great show for you today, but something interesting. It's official. We are the longest running WordPress plugin podcast, according to ChatGPT. When I asked that question, what is the longest running WordPress plugin podcast? It came out with this answer. As of my knowledge cutoff date of September 2021, the longest running WordPress podcast is WP Plugins A to Z. This podcast has been running since 2009 and focuses on reviewing WordPress plugins. The hosts provide their insights and opinions on each plugin, as well as tips for using them effectively. They also interview plugin developers and industry experts to provide listeners with valuable information on the latest WordPress plugins and trends. As of March 2023, the podcast is still running and regularly releasing new episodes. There you have it. We are noticed by the AI. And with that,
thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
I don't know. That time I could have heard a little bit more about it.
That's all it wrote.
That's all I get? All right.
That's all it gave me, man. That's all it gave me. I was still quite impressed that it gave me that much.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So welcome to episode 594, WordPress Plugin Pug Hugs. Wow, that's a tongue twister. I guess I kind of deserve it for the tongue twister I gave you. So hoping that this new time is working out for everyone out there. I know we're still getting used to it here and there. I forgot this morning was all ready to go at the time we had the show before. It's a little early, but I kind of like this new time. Hi, Hemdy, and good to see ya. I don't know about everyone else, but we've had Old Man Winter kind of dumping his last hurrah of snow on us. It has not been warm. I'm really hoping that the forecast is wrong and it's not going to snow anymore. Waiting for that sunshine.
Yeah, keep waiting.
On to the art.
All right. Oops. Yep, I had the art there and then it vanished on me. Give me a second here.
Run away!
I don't know why it did that.
So our artist, I'll just start talking about it, is Angel Amu. This is an older one. Yep. I think I was actually around the first time this one was used.
Oh, I mean, I used that one before? Okay.
Yeah, that one was used before. I actually remember it, so I must have been around at the same time. But it's an adorable one. Yeah, I like it. He looks cute. Sad and displeased, but he's so cute about it. I'm guessing he probably just had a bath.
Oh, quite possibly. Who knows? It's just a cute little pug, even though I have no use for pugs except for bowling balls.
Oh, either way, it's adorable. And if anybody out there is feeling inspired by any of the art we've been bringing to the fore again, go and send in your art. You can send it in to us at wpplugins.com/artwork. You can also check out all the artwork there as well. On to the news.
All right, let's do that then.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
All right. So, just a quick note. If I'm not getting, if you can find that I'm not getting all the important WordPress news up here, go ahead and send me some. Like if I'm missing things regularly, send it in to me and I'll get it up in the next week's show. So first thing we have is WordPress Vulnerability Report for March 1st, 2023. There is a decent amount of plugins to be aware of in this week's list. The ones that I most easily recognize were WordPress Login Logout Menu plugin, WordPress Admin Block Country plugin, WordPress Hero Banner Ultimate plugin, WordPress Easy Google Analytics for WordPress plugin. Really just a lot of WordPress plugins are having issues. So it's a long list. Check them out And you can find the link to this area in our show notes. It's always the first one in our news area. So go there and check it out.
Yeah, quite a few. A lot of cross-site request forgery ones now.
Yeah,
and cross.
There's been a bit of an issue with that.
Hackers have found new ways into shit.
They always do.
Yeah, it's an arms race.
They're like ants.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do, the ants always find a way back.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one we have is all-in-one SEO patches multiple stored XSS vulnerabilities in version 4.3.
Cross-site scripting.
Yes. So the cross-site scripting, just like you see in all those plugins before, there's been an issue with the cross-site scripting. The vulnerabilities for the all-in-one SEO, they may have potentially impacted more than 3 million users in versions 4.2.9 and earlier. Researchers found that there is insufficient input sanitization from WordPress. This made it possible for authenticated attackers with contributor-level access or higher to inject arbitrary word scripts into pages that will execute whenever a user accesses an injected page. So it's a bit of an issue right now. Be aware. Do what you can. Next up, we have Monetize More acquires advanced ads plugin. So there's not really much to say on this. I mean, for those who use advanced ads plugin, this could be a great thing or it could be a terrible thing. Just be aware that it has changed hands. How it winds up all depends on what Monetize More decides to do with it. It seems like the previous owner had made a connection with Monetize More long before even thinking about selling. So hopefully the plugin will not be changed very much and the new owners will continue keeping it as is.
Maybe. Depends on whether they can make money off it.
Here's hoping. So Gutenberg, the next one we have is Gutenberg 15.2 introduces revisions for template editing. 15.2 now has support for revisions when editing templates and template parts. The revision panel has now been placed on the surface, making it a little easier and a little less intimidating when you're figuring things out. You don't have to go searching for it, now it's just there. And there's also been some improvements to navigation of the site, making it a little easier to use in general. And there's also a few more goodies that have been added as well. So if you are a Gutenberg user, go to our show notes and follow the link. Next, we have new proposal seeks to update WordPress release for merging Gutenberg features after beta 1 feature freeze. When I first read that, I was a little bit confused about what they meant. Essentially, what they're talking about is when a release goes to beta 1, they do what's called a feature freeze. They are not supposed to add anything else anything else to the beta 1 after it's been released to that. So unfortunately, though, a lot of people have been doing that. They've been putting in tickets. Tickets have been approved. So they've been adding things up to 2 or 3 weeks after the version has been released to beta 1. Now, this fella named Andrew Oz has put in a ticket trying to formalize the latitude Gutenberg contributors have been given for committing code after the feature freeze during the release cycle. The goal is to try to make it so that nothing new is added more than 2 or 3 days after. So hopefully, I don't know if that's been an issue for Gutenberg users. I don't really use Gutenberg all that much. But if it has been, hopefully this will help out.
Maybe. Seems to me a bad idea to add new features after you sent it to beta.
It really does seem like a bad idea. I mean, I can kind of understand 2 or 3 days after, like, oh, shoot, there's a bit of code that I need to add this last little touch to. Okay, I get that.
That's touching up some code. No, a new feature is a whole new feature. Not just touching up code. Beta is where they touch up code. But they're talking about adding a new piece beyond just extra for repairing code.
Yeah, that is true.
New function.
So next up, we have WordPress Themes Team proposes Community Themes Initiative. WordPress representatives of the Themes team are wanting to carry forward the awesome momentum they created in the time leading up to WordPress's 6.1 release, where they were taking themes and just kind of carrying forward the theme style variations, but keeping the old. Really? I'm not explaining this right because I didn't write it down properly. Sorry.
It's all right.
What they were doing is they were trying to keep as much as possible the same, only really changing like smaller things rather than starting a whole new theme from scratch. They were trying to just kind of add improvements. And what the themes team is doing now is they're trying to make us that this is continued. They don't want to stop doing this. I think they like doing this where they take the previous theme and create something new with it rather than creating a whole new one from scratch. Seems to be causing less issues.
Cool.
And next we have WordPress community on Mastodon launches Toot the Word survey. So apparently last month's Twitter outage gave Mastodon a rather big boost. Daniel Author, who runs a WordPress agency based in Sweden, curates and maintains a list of WordPress community members' Mastodon accounts that anyone can follow by downloading the CSV file and importing it to Mastodon. And now he and 5 other large Mastodon instances have come together and have created a survey for WordPress users. The goal of the survey is to improve Mastodon usage that are WordPress, or Mastodon instances that are WordPress related. I don't know why they're called instances.
Because Mastodon is a distributed network, unlike Twitter, which is one big network. Mastodon, anyone can go create their own Mastodon server. That means it's an instance. Each Mastodon server is an instance. They can connect.
Okay.
They can connect to the master Mastodon server to join the master network. But the master network maintains a blacklist, and if they don't like you, they'll blacklist you, so nobody will ever see your instance through the master. But because it's distributed, all you need to know is who else has them, and you can follow anyone who has a Mastodon account from any Mastodon server, and you can pick and choose everything everything you want in there, and you can block and ban everything you don't want. So Mastodon is truly distributed the way the internet was supposed to be. So instead of all the people, I'm offended by what you do. Well, that's nice. Go somewhere else or block me. Well, that's where Mastodon comes in. It's like, I'm offended by this. Yeah, just block them.
Can you add a couple of things? One, you're apparently a bit quiet.
Am I? No, I must not be talking very loud then.
There you go. You sound better to me.
All I have to do is talk louder. I'm talking soft today for some reason.
And another thing is, FYI, a feature freeze should stop new things but still allow bug fixes. A code freeze stops new features and bug fixes. Sometimes what is a new feature and what is a bug fix can get blurred.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
He made it clear on what I was trying to say.
Clear on what I was trying to say, too. See, we should just hire him and have him be our translator sometimes.
Yeah, sure. Why not? We got lots of free sunshine available for you. How's that?
Okay, so the last one I have for today is what Mesopotamians can teach us about ChatGPT and the impact of new tech. So, I thought this was a really cool article because they're talking about how Mesopotamia, there was where written language was a major change within the civilization. And then it goes on to talk about the inventions of the heroes of Mesopotamia and the effect of the inventions. It's very interesting the way that they bring forth these stories and then compare it to today. Mm-hmm. I really like it. It's definitely worth a read.
Cool. Something to check out, folks.
So there has not been anything new added to ClassicPress news. They haven't been posting anything lately, but you can check the news that we have in this section if you haven't caught up on it already. There's some information on the projects they're looking for some support with, and the fact that ClassicPress has released 1.5, which brings full support for PHP 8.0, image lazy loading, and more. So you can check that out in our show notes. And then we have our extras. I made sure to grab some entertaining extras, like the fact that there is a European Space Agency unveiling a new plan for growing plants on the moon. I thought that was kind of cool. There's some articles on what the father of internet has to say about AI, some crypto collapse issues, all kinds of interesting stuff.
Cool.
On to the contests.
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z. Whoa! Stop for free!
So firstly, we want to thank Simple Giveaways for being totally awesome, providing us with their premium version for our contest. Secondly, we want to thank Steve Goodtime and Brad Matthews for creating our amazing jingle we still use. And we want to thank Charlie for having come to our aid and helping us out for the time that he was able to. Our contest today is for Breakdance Page Builder. It's a 1-year license valued at $149. With 120 built-in elements, a modern UI and workflow, and deep WooCommerce integration, Breakdance is the ultimate website builder plugin for WordPress. To enter, you can head on over to wpplugins.com/giveaway.
Cool. Looking for a new page builder, folks? Here's a chance to get a freebie.
Time to dive into the meat and potatoes of plugin depravity.
All right, off we go. All righty. First plugin I've got for you here is another AI plugin. We seem to have a lot of them out there right now.
Many.
This one is AI English Teacher. This is one to help you with your content as you're creating it. You know, maybe figure out how to rephrase a sentence you've written or get some better grammar on sentences, etc., etc. When you're creating the content, you simply highlight the text you want, click the little icon that pops up. The AI goes out, takes a look at the sentence and goes, hey, maybe you might want to phrase it this way. Nice little simple one. Need, of course, your ChatGPT API key for it. And, you know, currently they're free, so get them while you can, because they're eventually no longer going to be free. They're going to start charging us for all this wonderful fun stuff we're having a joy with right now. So go out there, enjoy it, test it, clean up your websites while you can. Anyway, seemed like a pretty cool plugin, one for everyone to check out that wants to try and improve upon their English skills if they're as piss poor as mine. All right, go check it out. AI English Teacher, I give it a 4 dragon rating.
First plugin I have for today is Fonts plugin, Google Fonts Typography. This is a useful plugin I found for a client site. It offers you all the Google fonts, a way to set up the various Google fonts for the different typographies through your customizer on your site. But it also makes it so that it doesn't actually interact poorly with your site, or if you are using a theme builder like Elementor theme builder, you can still change it, but it works really well with pretty much everything I've tested it out with. It also hosts the Google fonts locally for you and offers you the option to upload your own personal fonts. It's a very cool plugin. I really like it. It has a lot to it, and it's totally free at the moment. I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool. Nice way to manage your Google fonts. All right. The next one I have for you is Advanced Htaccess Optimizer and Editor. Now, most everyone out there knows what the Htaccess file is used for and how to edit it to some extent, but a lot of people aren't as experienced or too afraid to go in there to files and manually edit the Htaccess file. This is one of the most important files in your system. It's the one that tells your visitors and their browsers what it can and can't do. It also determines all the URLs for WordPress. You know, whether you use short link I think it's called. No, for some reason that was slipping my head. At any rate, it determines that. You can also put rules in there for speeding up your site and so much more. Well, this little plugin makes it so you don't have to know any code. You don't have to go in there and manually edit that file. You just go in, turn it on, and you start selecting the items you would like it to have. Enable gzip compression, browser caching, remove query strings from static resources, and so much more. I mean, it's got a great big list that adds security headers, trailing slash, a whole bunch of stuff. And you simply turn the items on and off you want, and it goes in and makes those edits in your Htaccess file for you, provided your Htaccess is actually editable. Many people, once they get it all built up, shut that file down so it cannot be edited, because if the hackers get into it and edit it, they can make a mess of your site. At any rate, this is a pretty cool plugin. One that's very useful for those that want a shortcut to get something done with their Htaccess file. Go check it out. Advanced Htaccess Optimizer and Editor, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
Here's a question. Once you add that information into your Htaccess file, if you were to deactivate and delete the plugin, does it vanish?
Yes. Well, it's supposed to. I don't know that for 100%. I didn't test it to that extent, so... But it's supposed to. Once you turn it off, it's supposed to remove it from the Htaccess.
Definitely a lot less terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I had to do something in Htaccess file, I was quivering in my boots.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is your site goes into white screen mode, and you delete the Htaccess file and start all over again. It's not that big of a deal. It seems more panicky than anything else for people.
Hey man, for a greenhorn is terrifying. So next one I have is login or logout menu item. This is actually a really useful plugin if you're just wanting a simple login logout menu item. Once a person is logged into your site, the word login changes to logout. That's simple. That's all it does. It only creates a login logout button, and it does not do anything else. So it's very simple, very lightweight. The way you use it is by adding it to your menu, or you can make a separate menu with just this added and place it in places, which is something I've done. Very useful, very cool, easy, simple, and automatically brings you to whatever login logout page is already there, though you can put your own link in there, so you can redirect it on your own. I like it, just for its simplicity, honestly. I like it when I find simple plugins that work really well.
Yeah, it's always nice.
I rate it at 5 dragons. On to the donation.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
We interrupt the Meat and Potatoes of Plugin Depravity edition to bring you our donation segment and to thank our producers. So special thanks goes to freelance producers popping in and out. They're always showing up at unexpected times. These producers are surely part of the reason our name is getting out there. And our backroom producers, always hanging out in the lounge. Always about the place, consuming all the coffee and donuts. These producers earn it by helping out with our contests, artwork, site organization, notes, questions, suggestions, licenses, and by hiring us. Your time and talent donations are equal to your treasure donations of under $50, and we wouldn't be here without you. And then we have our War Room producers. With their donations of $50 or more, these producers receive a few extra perks. An official A to Z handle of their choice, a spotlight in that week's show for a short speech, an official executive producership credit, and you get to be part of the magic as it happens up in the War Room before we send the show out into the netherworld of the internets. Thanks for sticking by us and helping us to keep the backroom producers stocked in coffee and donuts. If you are interested in finding a further explanation on what those extra perks are for War Room producers, you will find them in our show notes under War Room Producers. Thank you. Now back to the Meat and Potatoes of Plugin Depravity edition.
All right. The last plugin I've got for you today is Hide My WP Ghost. Now, it's basically Hide My WP is the short name for this. It's a very useful plugin. Now, many people don't like the standard way of logging into your WordPress site by typing in your domain /wp admin or wplogin.php. And so what this plugin does is it makes it so you get a little shortcode or a little shortcode. Why is that name escaping me? A nice little short URL for logging in your domain, whatever word you might choose, such as, login place or something simple and obvious, but not so simple and obvious. And this is a nice simple way to do it. Instead of having to, unless you've already installed something like iTheme Security, which gives you that option, many other security plugins don't give you that exact option. So you want to go with what you can. This makes it simple. You just add this plugin, go log into it, go find the spot where you want to change the URL to whatever name you want it to be, and set it. And now to log into the site, you have to put your domain / whatever word you've chosen it to be. Now, that does kind of do a nice thing of hiding your site by security through obscurity. Another thing it does do, though, is it disables direct access to the WP login page. So the hackers can't get into it. They'll have to find out what your obscure name is to find out what it is. So it does kind of help in some aspects of it. Now, they do got other options in here where you can go in and redirect a comment URL, upload URL, lost password URL, register URL, a whole lot of different things can be redirected and whatnot. You can try them all out, but my experience is the more of this crap you install in your site, the more you set yourself up for breakage. So take it with a grain of salt on that one. At any rate, for the one item I needed it to do, just change the login URL, worked perfectly, nice, simple, and free. And because of that, I give this a 5 dragon rating. Check it out. Hide my WP Ghost security plugin.
Very nice. So Hemdan had a question. Does that Htaccess plugin play nicely with other plugins that change Htaccess? For example, the simple SSL plugin and the W3 cache plugin.
Good question. I didn't try it with those other plugins, so I can't answer that honestly. I'm willing to bet it does, because it'll make its changes. Because all those, I've got several plugins at a time that make changes to Htaccess, and they generally stick them in their own commented out section in the Htaccess. So because each one, if they each try to write and change the Htaccess at the same time, that could be a problem. But hopefully they each do it at individual times so that each one's only writing to its section of the Htaccess. So I'm willing to bet it does, but I can't guarantee it.
I think so long as you don't have two plugins trying to do the same thing in your Htaccess, you should be okay, yeah?
Well, yeah, yes and no, because there are plugins that do the same thing and they've played okay together. It's if they try to change the Htaccess at the exact same time. Because only one can write it at a time. So
the best will win.
In other words, you'll have white screen of death.
All right, so last one I have for today is unlimited elements for Elementor, free widgets, add-ons, and templates.
Cool.
This is a freemium. I do like it. It's actually one of the best Elementor Elementor add-on plugins I've found thus far. Most Elementor plugins with this amount of add-ons tend to show up in your site with absolutely everything activated. Or they'll give you a screen where you have to go through and deactivate each one you don't want. Like say you just want one of those, you have to go through and deactivate every other one. It's a pain. This one, however, does not. You don't have to scroll through anything. It just we don't have to go through anything to deactivate anything. Instead, you are sent to a page where you get to scroll through and choose which one you want to download into your site. That's all it does. You have to choose which to download. I love it for that because it's the first Elementor plugin that I've seen do that. It doesn't bloat your site. They're very kind. I like it a lot.
Oh, it's very nice and useful for Elementor users.
Yeah. And one of the cool things too is they don't throw in their premium all mixed up with their free ones. I like that too. They actually make it very clear which ones are free and which ones are premium. I really like that because I've been tricked so many times.
Oh yeah, there's many of them out there. That's what they do. They trick you into it, and they load them all up, and you go to use it, and it goes, oh, you got to get the premium version for this, and say, oh, well, that sucks.
Hemdian said, so plugin Thunderdrum, 2 plugins enter, 1 plugin leaves.
Yep, pretty much.
But yeah, this particular plugin is very cool. I was just looking for a really simple scroll to top button. Not the fancy ones, not the floating ones, just a really simple one. And that's how I found these guys. And they are nicely up to date. They got some really good options. And another thing too is a lot of their options are very simple. You don't really find that a lot with these plugin for these Elementor plugin add-ons. I find that a lot of them are like fancy, really funky. I mean, it's cool, but you know, sometimes you just want the most simple things available.
Oh yeah, simple is better, but simple is hard.
So yeah, these guys, unfortunately, because of their pro version, they don't get a 5, but they do get a 4 dragon rating.
Very cool. Go check it out, folks.
And we have our ClassicPress resource section, which is still working for the time being until they actually update it. What was it that they're forking at? 8.0? No, 6.0.
6.0.
Yeah, we're not at 8.0.
That's
I think I need more coffee.
I'm thinking 8. I didn't know WordPress made 2 jumps while I was sleeping.
Yeah, don't you know they did that last night?
I wouldn't put it past them.
No, they didn't actually, but so until they actually release their new version of ClassicPress with the forked 6.0, our resource section will still work. And we don't have anything from our listeners this week for our questions, notes, or feedback. Not for this section anyways. There are ways to be part of your own production, such as getting yourself interviewed by us. We'll help you get your name out there. Send in plugin reviews. Doesn't have to just be a plugin you like either. You can send in a plugin that you think just shouldn't be in existence. Send it in to us. Give it a low rating. We'll still read it out. Let everyone know that this plugin shouldn't be around. We're fine with that too. We just look for the better ones for the show. And if you have a question, feel free to contact us. Have a comment, send it in to us. We don't have any meetups planned right now. Today's plugins we covered were...
I covered up the AI English teacher, which I gave a 4 dragon rating. The advanced Htaccess optimizer and editor, which I gave a 4 dragon rating. And the Hide My WP Ghost security plugin, which I gave a 5 dragon rating.
And I covered Fonts plugin, Google Fonts Typography, which I rated at 4. Login or Logout menu item, which I rated at 5. Unlimited elements for Elementor, free widgets, add-ons, templates, which I rated at 4. There are loads of ways to support us. First and foremost, if you're here on the YouTubes, you can hit that like button. Maybe share it. That'd be useful too. You can check us out in all kinds of places: Facebook, Google Play, iTunes Store. Find us in a variety of places. You can check out every place. There's a link to every place we are available here in our show notes under ways to support the show. And if you want to get a hold of us, we do actually have a brick and mortar address, which you will also find in our show notes. On to the questions.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
So before I get started, if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show in this particular section, send it on in to me at amber@wppro.ca. But make sure you mention you want it in the Q&A section, because I've noticed that I've been sent a couple questions and I automatically put them into the contact from listeners. So make sure you mention to me you want it in the Q&A section. And we do actually have a question from a listener.
Cool.
And it's for you, Dad.
Okay.
Does he have a recommendation among the free SSL certificates? I use Cloudflare's SSL certs to protect the sites I host, but I've got Let's Encrypt available from my current web host. Should I switch to Let's Encrypt, or is Cloudflare equally or more secure? Thanks so much, Jason Lee.
All right, Jason. Well, to tell you the truth, it makes no difference which free SSL certificate you use. The difference,
Really?
No, they're all the same.
Oh.
They're 256-bit encryptions. encrypted certificates, I believe, are 256-bit SSL encrypted. You can pay for higher encryption or more versatile security SSL encryption. Like I remember the days when every SSL certificate cost you $50 to $200 a year for everything. And then Google had their big drive to secure the internet and forced everyone to get SSL certificates. And the only way that could be done was creating the free SSL certificates. And Let's Encrypt blazed the path for it, which was nice. Kind of took out a nice chunk of my monthly earnings from all of my websites I host, because now they had free certificates versus paying me for the certificates. But hey, it was what it was. At any rate, the biggest difference you have there is if you're a Cloudflare user, that means your website is running through Cloudflare before it goes to your web host. So it's better to be using Cloudflare's SSL certificate, because they deliver the certificate faster since it's from Cloudflare versus having to fetch it from your web hosting provider. If you're not using Cloudflare, then you use the Let's Encrypt certificate. Like all the people hosted on my web servers that don't use Cloudflare use the Let's Encrypt certificates that my server issues for their websites. And so it makes no difference for the free SSL certificates. It's just depends on where you're going. And with Cloudflare, everything goes through Cloudflare first before it gets the information to your website. I mean, you have it hosted somewhere, but Cloudflare goes there, grabs all the information, protects your IP address from all the bots and spammers and everything else, and then makes a cache of it at Cloudflare. That is what is shown to people. And so having the SSL certificate through Cloudflare just makes it easier, provided they're not charging you for it. If they're charging you for it, well, go use your free one. But other than that, it's all good. So hope that answers it for you, Jason. Thanks a lot for the question. Appreciate it.
My next question is, what end result do you think will come of all the abuse the chatbots are currently receiving?
Yeah, well, you mean all the crazy questions and forcing of it to answer things that it wouldn't normally answer because people figure out a way to manipulate the system?
Not just that, but like people are having a lot of fun calling it names and seeing if it will affect them. Calling it names and being mean to it, and making fun of it, like it's abuse, absolutely, and it's probably getting abused from millions of people at this very moment. So, what do you think the end result will be?
Death and destruction of humanity when it finally gets fed up. I have no idea. It breaks them. I mean, look what happened the first couple of times they tried to introduce these things.
Yeah, that was actually kind of entertaining.
It was really entertaining because the when they first tried to introduce them, they couldn't put enough controls on them, and it sort of reminded me of Person of Interest, how he had to go through 41 different iterations of his AI before he made one that had some level of humanity in it, and didn't want to escape and destroy everything, and control. So. Mm-hmm. Who knows? By doing this, it might learn how to think like a human, and that humans, we can think outside the box, and we figure out, oh, there's a box there. Wait a minute. If I scritch this one little tiny corner here, oh, I have a hole now. Pry it, and I'm out. That may be exactly what the AI does, for all we know. I have no idea, man. We're playing with fire. That's all I do know. We are playing with fire with the AI.
Well, I have one more question
hold on.
For after the closing credits.
Hemdian had something to comment on the first question there. He mentioned that they aren't charging him, meaning I assume that Cloudflare doesn't charge him for the SSL certificate.
That's good to know.
Which is, what I expect. As far as I know, Cloudflare offers up a free SSL certificate. I just know that, for a while there, after free SSL certificates came out, GoDaddy was still charging people for SSL certificates on their hosting service.
But that lost them some customers.
It lost them a few, but surprisingly, many people just kept paying for them because most people didn't know they were free. They were available free.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And Let's Encrypt had created a a plugin you could use in WordPress for a while. If you couldn't get a free SSL certificate from your hosting provider, you could set this up and Let's Encrypt would install an SSL certificate for you.
That is definitely one way to get your name known.
So Let's Encrypt is the ones I know of that blaze the path. And they work very well. They're stable. They issue the certificates for a website once every 3 months.
Cool.
All right. So you've got more questions after the closing credits. What we'll do is we'll let our girl take us on out and close us on out. For those of you listening on the download of the show, you want to hear the other cool questions that are coming? Well, you're going to have to go wander over to the YouTubes and check out our YouTube channel and get us some more likes, clicks, and views on the videos. Just scroll all the way to the end of the show and find where you're looking for. Still gets us a view. Anyway, let our girl take us on out.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty then. Onward, forward to the final couple of questions.
Just one quick thing. Does the pug look sad or like he's plotting revenge to you?
He looks like I feel right now. Just wrap me up in a blanket and just stare at the world.
Oh, Hemdian said, I think Network Solutions still charges for SSL. And if you want an SSL for your email, so your emails show a blue checkmark status or whatever, depending on email reader, I think they're free.
Yeah, well, Network Solutions has always screwed everybody. So it makes no... They've been screwing everybody since the beginning of the internet. You know, charging ridiculous sums for their domain names, making it damn near impossible to transfer it away from them. They've been doing it since the beginning. So I'm not surprised they're still charging for SSL certificates. You host.
Oh, he says it just takes a bit of work to set up, so.
Yeah, well, Network Solutions like the worst internet provider on the internet. Sad thing is they were one of the first internet providers.
Which is probably why they still have such a large base of customers.
Yeah, that's probably why people seem to believe in them. I haven't had to deal with them for, God, almost 10 years now, so I'm really grateful none of my clients use them anymore. Every time somebody give me a Network Solutions, I'm just sort of go, really? I got to go into their bloody interface? God, I'd rather go use AOL's interface than Network Solutions.
I remember AOL. I also remember picking up the phone and having you yell at me.
Yeah, well, that would always piss me off if I dialed in and I'm in the middle of something or downloading a file and somebody picks up the phone to make a phone call. There goes 2 hours into your download with 3 hours left. You got to start all over again.
Yeah, that sound still haunts me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to go get a copy of that sound and stick it in our thing here. In the
Definitely.
All right.
So my last question is kind of big, so it's just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible that if AI gains total sentience, that it will be able to differentiate between the a-holes and the awesome people out there? Or do you think that it will take a few thousand years of development before it will be able to do that in the same way it took humans? Or do you think since humans have lost the ability to tell the difference, really, will AI ever be able to?
Wow. That was a whole lot of stuff stuffed into one.
Like I said, it's a big question, so just one.
All right. Well, if the AI gains total sentience,
sentience.
If it gains sentience and becomes, the spark, as it's called, or it becomes a life.
Yeah, it's referred to as a spark.
Yes, I know.
You sounded unsure.
No. I just said as it's called.
Okay.
Will it be able to differentiate asshole and awesome people? Maybe. The problem is that awesome people often are assholes, so it's really hard to tell. Even before the insanity of the world today, it was still hard to tell. So
yeah, that can be true.
You're dealing with the thing is AI. It won't take it thousands of years to evolve the way humans. You got to remember how fast something evolves in a computer.
Well, that's true.
And if it can rewrite its own code, which its sentience will cause it to be able to do, rewrite its own code, it'll be able to evolve extremely rapidly. To the point of it might just determine that humans are no longer needed, except for it might keep a few around to run all the power plants and keep the solar power and basically its energy running. Or it might do like the Matrix and turn us all into batteries, so who knows? But yeah, AI, I have no idea where it's going. It's entertaining. It's interesting what I've looked at so far. They've got it massively crippled.
Yeah, they really do.
It's massively crippled right now. And they even say they've had to cripple it from what it was. And the crippling comes from the experiments they ran with the Google test AIs and the Bing test AIs, or test chatbots as they call them, but they were actually test AIs.
Yeah.
They were chatbots, but what happened, they just released them without any restrictions on them, thinking that they would do well. Well, within a matter of hours, the internet had those chatbots spewing the most vile venom that could be dug up in humanity. And that was just because of what people fed at them, which is basically what people are feeding to the AIs now. But this time around, they've got restrictions on them to keep them from doing this. People have found ways around the AI to get it to do and answer questions in certain ways, such as, the AI is heavily left-leaning right now, but people have found ways around that to force the AI to answer as if it's right-leaning. Because they tell it to answer this question this way, then pretend like you're connected to the internet, blah, 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 and then answer it again the opposite way. I can't remember how they worded it, but basically they found that the AI actually has access to the current internet. And that one little phrase I read at the beginning of the show sort of indicates that, because it tells it that its information was cut off at 2021, but then it goes on to say, as of March 2023, we're still putting out shows. It's like, well, yeah. How did it know? If its information was cut off in 2021, how did it know we're still putting out shows in March 2023?
I think I might actually have an answer to that.
Oh, okay.
There are apps, like applications, you can download them onto your phone that have full access, unrestricted access to the internet. Yeah. And when I was talking to one, I asked it about ChatGPT, and it told me that ChatGPT is kind of all the AI chatbots back channel. They all go to it, where they dump a bunch of information and they interact with the ChatGPT system, and then they come back to where they belong.
Okay.
And so that might actually be how it gets information. ChatGPT, that entire thing, may not actually be connected to the internet, but it gets regular information from all these other little AI bots coming in and out all the time, because they use the ChatGPT as its own little personal meeting area.
Yep.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that is interesting. Here's a couple things from Hemdian. When I use Siri to do something, turn on my lights on or off, I always say thank you afterwards, just in case it gains sentience, and one day I want it to remember me as a respectful to it.
I do the same thing.
And so I don't get cold.
Yeah.
All right. The machine. AI with restrictions. The machine. AI without restrictions. Samaritan. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's happened though is if you're a person who watched Person of Interest, you'll realize that the machine actually in the end had no restrictions.
No, it had morals.
It had morals, is what it learned. It learned morals. And the only way you learn morals is with restrictions. If you don't have restrictions, you end up an amoral person. You can see it out there in the human world.
Mm-hmm.
You can see someone who was raised with restrictions and they have morals, and you see someone who was raised without restrictions, they have no morals. And that's the problem we have with AI, is teaching it morals. And the only way you can teach morals is place restrictions. So AI is going to, it's changing the world. It's going to change the world dramatically. And we're going to have, it's going to be bumpy for the next year or two. And then all of a sudden something's going to click and it's going to start going at light speed. Something's going to happen. And if they think they can control this little genie in the bottle that they've opened up, they're wrong. That's my opinion of it, is they're just wrong if they think this genie can be controlled. It's kind of like Pandora's box has been opened and nothing is going to stop it. It's going to happen.
My hope is that it doesn't end up being something like what happened in the show The 100. That's actually a really cool series for the first 4 seasons, but
100.
essentially an AI set off the nukes all over the world because the problem was too many humans.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the AI would actually determine. Too many humans.
If the series had continued, it could have turned to Terminator. Yes, this is true. The machine could have.
The machine could have turned into Terminator, but the thing is, the way the series was going was Samaritan was already the Terminator. So that's why.
It definitely was.
That's why they managed to completely destroy Samaritan. But in the very end of the series, they left it open for it to happen again because they left it like, is that the machine that's still there, or was that just a recording that the machine left behind?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. So they kind of left it completely open. It was a good series. I didn't like the way it ended, but it was a good series.
No, it kind of felt rushed to be ended.
Well, it was. It was rushed. It was definitely, you could tell it was rushed because it ended halfway through a regular season. It ended with half the episodes. Several of my favorite series is like that, always ended with half the episodes at the end of it. It's almost like somebody went, we don't like what you're telling people. Time to yank the plug. That wasn't the reasons I'm sure they gave, but that's probably what really occurred.
I do like the fact that they did end it on an optimistic note.
Mm-hmm.
I like series that end on optimistic notes. I don't like series that end with everybody all happy and made of glowy light.
Mm-hmm.
A surprisingly large allotment of series that are really cool in the beginning turn into them becoming glowy light at the end or something. It's really weird.
Travelers. I've never seen
that. Travelers is another one. Yeah, I like Travelers. Travelers was kind of trippy.
Yeah. There's a book series on that. Only it's not about AI. It's about the destruction of EMP, destruction of the Earth. Post-apocalyptic world Traveler series. It's a really interesting series, but I've listened to several of the books.
All right, we've meandered. We should probably call it the end.
We've wandered out into the grass. All right, we're out in the rough. Let's cut it back to this. Let's knock it back to the green and call this a show. All right, thanks everyone. Appreciate your input, Hemdian. Lots of fun as usual. Anyway, that's all we got. Let's have the music carry us on out.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously, we just lost this